Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We'd like to begin our program this evening. I am Kim Bolduc, the board chair for the Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce. For the third time, we will celebrate the International Athena Awards being presented here in Vermont. This evening, we would like to introduce you to 6 accomplished women who are finalists for these 2 awards named after the Greek goddess Athena. Athena was known for her strength, wisdom, courage, enlightenment, is embodied in the criteria used to describe among those nominated for this recognition. The focus of this award is to recognize women leaders. This leadership role can be seen in the distinguished stories of our finalists we look forward to sharing with you this evening. Stories about women who were inspired to take the risk, to achieve excellence, and succeed, whether it be in business, education, government, public service, or volunteer efforts. These awards recognize those achievements in the finalists and recipients. When the Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce learned of the prestigious Athena Award, we sought the opportunity to establish it in Vermont. Of specific interest was the inclusion of the mentoring criteria within the award and recognition of those who engaged in this monumental effort. Our finalists demonstrate on a daily basis the importance of building each other up while nurturing relationships, teaching and encouraging our citizens to seek their strengths and to take those steps to improve the quality of life not only for themselves, but for their families and their communities. The contribution of volunteers in any entity should be recognized and applauded, but for the 6 Athena finalists here tonight, volunteer resumes are particularly impressive, and the beneficiaries of their volunteer efforts are expansive. These women are champions of others and the communities they live in by donating their time and effort to support multiple causes they do. They impact their volunteer efforts, make benefit countless individuals and many diverse organizations now and generations to come. To be successful, yet to find time to give to others in many different arenas is to be encouraged and acclaimed. Our mission statement at the Chamber reads that we are here to guide, inspire, and promote the best interests of businesses and professionals of the area, and to enhance the economic, cultural, and educational, recreational opportunities of its citizens and visitors. This award program enhances our ability to deliver on this mission and inspire more of our citizens to seek opportunity and take the risk to succeed. This gala is a monumental undertaking for our chamber every year. We began planning tonight's event the day following the last, but it's an effort we take on gladly. Our staff, Tanya Barnett, Kelly Murphy, and Jeanette Kingsbury, work very closely with a volunteer committee led by Dee Lamberton, to make this program worthy of the prestige of this international award. I am very proud of their effort and would like to take this opportunity to thank them. We have an Athena committee as well, and Dee will mention those folks later. The last 18 months have driven home more than anything else could just how important the virtues of leadership are, and we at the Chamber are proud to recognize these virtues in our fellow Vermonters. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our event sponsors. Our Be a Goddess sponsors are Community National Bank, Union Mutual, and Women's Inclusion Network of National Life Group. Please also take a moment to note the Nike sponsors on your table tent cards as well. Again, thank you sponsors for your interest in attendance. The Athena Awards are a worthy investment, and your participation sends a clear message that your business invests in your community and its growth by identifying and honoring its leaders. We could not have this ceremony without your help. I would like to now introduce Dee Lamberton, owner of A Quilter's Garden and chair of the Athena Committee.
I think I need my glasses. dark over here. Thank you, Kim. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being here to honor these 6 remarkable Vermont women that I have the pleasure to introduce and inform you of tonight. Given the times we presently live in, we appreciate your recognition of the importance of women in leadership by your presence here this evening. The spirit of generosity and commitment to other women, while always important, is especially vital now. Since the start of 2020, the pandemic has disrupted the world economy and the lives of countless people. It did so with a force of historic proportion, though not in equal measure. Without a doubt, the events of the past year and a half exacerbated existing gender and diversity inequities in leadership ranks, and it upended generations of working women. But as you will see tonight, this pandemic also presents golden opportunities to deliver exponential impact in leadership, which these 6 finalists exemplified in their respective professions and in their communities. Their accomplishments are advancing women leadership in Vermont and helping to develop our next generation of successful leaders. These women embody the Athena model. These women strive toward the highest level of professional accomplishment. These women excel in their chosen careers. These women have devoted time, energy, and leadership to their community and serve as exceptional role models, inspiring and assisting others to achieve excellence. These women have forged paths of leadership for other women to follow. Their dedication to their career and community impacts not just a few, but thousands across our entire state. So tonight, we should all applaud and honor these exceptional women leaders. In our 3rd year, we had another list of impressive nominees. There is an incredible depth of professional talent and leadership in the Vermont community. In our eyes, every single nominee deserves praise for what they have achieved. You will find a complete list of the 2021 nominees in tonight's program. The quality of this year's nominees made it no simple task for our judges to pick only 3 finalists in both categories and then choose the recipient from both awards. The judging committee is an integral part of this event and is comprised of prominent community leaders who volunteered their time to assess each Athena nomination and choose the finalists based upon their professional achievement, community service, and the support and mentoring of women. This ceremony is not possible without their time and dedication. Thank you to our judging panel, Kim Boldock of Boldock Metal Recycling, Cheryl LaFlance, Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at Northfield Savings Bank, Jeannie Morrissey, President of J.A. Morrissey and Vermont's first Athena Leadership Award recipient, Yao Friedman, Senior Development Officer of UVM Medical Center, and Payet Geldmanivan, Community Development Manager for the City of Burlington's Community and Economic Development Office. One of Vermont's influential leaders is going to share her story with us tonight. She is a trailblazing woman and has held key leadership positions both regionally and statewide throughout her career. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Mary Alice Mckenzie.
Thank you so much, Dee. What an honor it is to speak at Vermont's only Athena Award event, and bravo to the leadership of the Chamber. for honoring the contributions of women who are making such a positive impact in Vermont. And it is such a joy to share a little bit of the program with lifelong friend Jeannie Morrissey, because but for the intervention of the Morrisseys, I would not be here. Because you see, Jeannie's parents introduced my parents on a blind date, and the rest is history. So what a joy to be here. I was asked tonight to speak to you about my career journey. However, I think the important story is not about me. It's about the women who early in my career lifted me up and over obstacles and what I learned from them. So I'm going to tell you 3 stories about women that I will never forget. But first, let me set the stage a bit. When I was starting law school in 1979, there were very few professional female role models to relate to. Women were just beginning their rise in business, law, academia, etc. There were a few women on the national stage, but for example, I didn't know any female attorneys when I decided to go to law school. My English professor suggested I think about law school, and she introduced me to her husband, who was a lawyer, and he talked me through the application process. In law school, I had one female professor the entire 3 years. In fact, Professor Levinson was the first female faculty member hired by the law school in its then 100-year history. After graduation from law school, I was beyond excited to begin my dream job as a prosecutor in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office in Chicago. I had been hired into the first class of new prosecutors that was a full 1/3 women. There were 5 of us. So my first story is about the women who were there before us, some of the first female prosecutors in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office of then 600 attorneys. Those women, Sarah, Michelle, and Tara, on their own, not part of any program, because there was no program, reached out. They explained the unwritten rules of a very male culture and taught me how to protect myself in ways that were not intuitive to a young woman who had grown up in very, very safe Vermont. I remember my first time in a felony courtroom. I was so rattled that when it was my time to address the court, I opened my mouth and nothing came out. Very rare for me. Nothing came out. Tara, the senior attorney that day, gracefully took over as if nothing had happened, giving me time to take a deep breath and settle down enough to function. Later, she taught me how and when to make eye contact, how to use the tone and cadence of my voice, and how to move in the courtroom. She and the other women taught me how to speak with confidence in ways that could be heard by the judges, who were all men in those days. The women of the state's attorney's office in Chicago taught me many things, but really what they taught me about was the power of mentoring. Now, I thought I had found my life's work in Chicago. However, by 1986, in a very unexpected turn of events, I found myself back in Vermont, working in the family meat processing business, Mckenzie of Vermont. I never expected to join the business, even though I had worked there summers and holidays from the age of 13 until I went to law school, because it was understood that it was not the kind of business a woman worked in as a career unless she worked in the accounting office. But sometimes, as we know, life has different plans for us. My dad had become very sick and then passed away. So here I was back in Vermont running the family business. And indeed, meat packing and processing was a very male industry. And at the time, the American Meat Institute was the largest trade association representing meat packers and processors in the world. Following in my father's footsteps, I started attending those meetings. I was the only female meat packer or processor in the room. When I was asked to join the board of directors, I was the only woman at the table of 55 directors, and it was very uncomfortable. My fellow directors didn't quite know what to think of me. They were very polite, but didn't include me into their discussions or to the golf course or to their private dinners. So my second story is about the women who worked at the American Meat Institute, because it was they who made a point of connecting with me. Peggy was the event planner, Janet was the marketing director, and Sarah was the Institute's only female lobbyist at that time. They knew that it was important for women to be in those rooms. Business was done in those rooms. Policies were formed in those rooms. Policies formed by CEOs of big agribusinesses that often disadvantaged small businesses like ours. They also knew that it was good for the Institute to be seen to include women because policymakers in DC were just starting to pay attention to women-owned businesses. So the women of the American Meat Institute made it their mission to introduce me to people, lots of people. Eventually, I became the first female chair of the Institute and had the opportunity to meet all kinds of people in the industry. By the time I stepped away, the board included women from businesses large and small because we made it our mission to find, recruit, and elect women to the board. It was the women of the American Meat Institute who taught me about the power of welcoming in those who are different. My last story is about Betty Fishman. Betty's business was Fishman's department store in Vergennes. Betty was the first woman on the Vermont Federal Bank Board. When it was time for her to retire from the board in 1991, she let everybody know that she'd not be leaving until they found women to join the board, and she wanted to be part of the process. When Betty approached me about joining the board, I said I did not think I could do that. I didn't belong on a bank board. I had trouble with bankers. Bankers said I had too much ego. I should be home caring for my children. They asked who in our company explained manufacturing principles to me now that my father had passed. Clearly, bankers didn't think much of me. But she laughed, and basically, she told me to buck up, that you cannot let others define your worth. She asked, wouldn't it be great fun to prove that you deserve a seat at the table? And I did buck up, and I did join the Vermont Federal Bank Board, and it was, as Betty said, great fun to learn that I could hold my own at a banker's table. Betty Fishman taught me about the power of taking action. And now I love banking, especially Northfield Savings Bank. And it's truly an honor for me to be on the NSB board and to serve as the current chair. An honor I know I would not have had but for Betty Fishman telling me to buck up. These women who helped me find my way taught me to mentor others, to reach out and welcome those who are a different face in the crowd, and to take action when something is not fair. You know, there's so much we can do to make sure that women get a fair shot. If we own or manage a business, we can make sure to hire women. If our business is in an industry that doesn't include women, we can support organizations that train women to work in our industry. If we have any kind of investments, we can find out what kind of companies we own and if they have women on their boards and in their leadership. If we are on boards, we can make sure to find, recruit, and elect women. And we can vote, we can vote, and we can vote. And maybe we can, and I think this is the most important thing of all, we can mentor. We can mentor those who are new in our organizations. We can mentor our next generation leaders, and we can especially manage our girls, because we must always remember that our girls are watching us to see what is the art of the possible. And finally, tonight, we can thank the Chamber for shining such a beautiful light on the amazing women nominated for the Athena Awards and the contributions they are making to the state that we so love. Thank you so very much for including me in your celebration. It's just been a privilege.
Thank you, Mary Alice. We appreciate you sharing your story with us. And now it is time for you to meet the finalists for the 2021 Athena Awards. We would like each finalist to come forward to accept your bouquet once I introduce you. As chairperson, it is truly my privilege to introduce first the Athena Young Professional Leadership Award finalists. Monique Priestley, please come forward. Monique joined the Center of Women in Enterprise during COVID and provided support to women-owned businesses, helping them to secure more than $3 million in state and federal assistance. In the past year of work for CWE, she has run 76 programs to help women business owners from all over Vermont pivot and adapt to the pandemic crisis. In 2018, Monique founded and currently serves as the executive director of the Space on Main, a nonprofit community-based co-working, events, and entrepreneurship center, and she has run it as a 100% volunteer effort. Monique spends every hour possible creating entrepreneurship and small business support programming through the Space on Main. This has included such activities as women-focused business planning courses and artisan markets featuring 100% women and LGBTQ business owners. Monique has spoken publicly about how important mentorship has been to her life and how each and every Vermonter needs to empower the people around them to be invited to various tables and given a chance to share their stories. She demonstrates this by recruiting fellow young people, notably young women, onto boards that she serves and into the leadership programs of which she is an alum. She advocates the importance of every Vermonter to find the leader within and for current leaders to bring up others in their rise through various ranks at local, regional, and state levels. Monique is passionate about empowering others. Congratulations. Dr. Paige Spieth. Paige was recently named as an inaugural fellow within Norwich University's Institute for Innovation in Teaching and Learning, as well as the Academic Integrity Officer for Norwich Campus Programs. These recent honors substantiate the initiative and creativity she has demonstrated as a collaborative, interdisciplinary instructor and peer mentor in and out of the classroom. Lecturers at Norwich are not required to engage in professional development or service activities, yet Paige has consistently accomplished both in the academic career by actively performing collaborative research with undergraduate students, organizing team talk courses within her department during the year-and-a-half COVID crisis, unofficially advising students from multiple majors, which has helped build a research culture that aids for both recruitment and retention, and serving on multiple university committees. Paige is clearly inspired to innovate and collaborate in the academic setting, which has inspired her students and her colleagues. Her community service is concentrated on inspiring young Vermonters and supporting her community members. Paige has acted as a grader and volunteer in the Vermont State Math Counts competition. She has also spent years working with Vermont Works for Women in multiple capacities on programs that are instrumental for inspiring young women and gender non-conforming youth to explore careers where they are historically underrepresented, but more importantly, to gain and build personal confidence in their own abilities. Paige has mentored multiple female students pursuing STEM careers at both VTC and Norwich. Paige has been assisting women to advance their leadership development and inspire women to achieve their potential for many years. Congratulations, Paige. Sarah Lang. Unfortunately, Sarah is unable to be here tonight, so Kevin and Kim, you could sit down if you want. Sarah is the Director of Programs for Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation. This organization was able to help over 500 businesses and nonprofits get through COVID using platforms that Sarah helped pioneer. She is a critical part of the organization's growth and efficacy. Over the last 4 years, she has built up the Southern Vermont Region's Community and Economic Development Network and has created high-quality trainings and events. Most of all, Sarah is a community builder. Sarah has been the greeter at the Southern Vermont Region's front door, helping the state pilot Stay to Stay, which has welcomed hundreds of potential new Vermonters. Moreover, Sarah is a leader and a driver. Her leadership has led the Southern Vermont young professionals through a period of growth and maturity, increasing board engagement and doubling the number of events with a focus on support for financial literacy, home buying, and professional development. She has pursued an agenda of board development which has involved rigorous retreats, role definition, and evaluation of volunteer leadership, many of whom are women. Sarah has provided intensive mentoring to 2 talented young professional women in the past year, helping them navigate career transitions successfully in a manner that enabled them to stay and thrive in the region. Southern Vermont is richer and more diverse because of Sarah's commitment and caring. Congratulations, Sarah. At this time, I would like to introduce a special guest who is committed to educating, empowering, and mentoring women. The 2020 Vermont ATHENA Young Professional Leadership Award recipient, Lisa Dion.
All right, thank you, Dee. Hello, everyone. I would like to thank Tanya for inviting me to speak tonight. It's really nice to be able to celebrate this in person again. I have had the privilege of being here for each of the 3 ceremonies that Vermont has had for the ATHENA Award, and it's just wonderful to be welcomed back. I think that the ATHENA Awards are so important. There are women in our state who have long lists of accomplishments and deserve to be honored. The finalists for the Young Professional Leadership Award this year, like in previous years, span across many fields and sectors, highlighting the fact that wherever you look, there are women in positions of power. I work in the fields of computer science and education, but it took me a long time to find that path. When I was a child, I didn't see headlines of women in tech, so I didn't consider computer science as an option. I pursued math in college just as much to rebel against stereotypes as it was to pursue something that I love. I didn't want to be a teacher for the longest time because even then, I knew that women have the added burdens of emotional student support and service activities that men typically don't have. The society we live in makes it seem like some doors are closed to women, but we are here to help bring down those barriers. The way that this award broadcasts headlines and pictures of women leaders, especially in STEM and business, means that there's a new generation of girls in Vermont who are growing up to see that representation. It opens doors for them that were closed before. Economics and startups are stereotypically male-dominated spaces, but now we're highlighting a woman leader who is an economy project manager in southern Vermont. During COVID, more women than men have had to leave their jobs. Now we're highlighting a woman leader in COVID business recovery at the Center for Women and Enterprise. Chemistry and biology, like other STEM disciplines, are heavily male-dominated. Now we're highlighting a woman leader who teaches in both science fields at Norwich University. I want to thank the 3 finalists for stepping into the spotlight, and I want to thank the Vermont Chamber of Commerce for continuing to honor women like these 3, because it makes a positive difference in the perception of working women. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And now I would like to introduce the 3 finalists for the Athena Leadership Award. I'll start with Lisa Kizar. Lisa was unanimously approved for the Board of Directors at Union Mutual to assume the position of President and CEO in October of 2020, giving her the distinction of being the first female president in its 147-year history. As President and CEO, Lisa is engaging a culture of innovative thinkers by focusing on updating the company's mission and vision statement as the first leader to integrate environmental, social, and governance practices in all aspects of their business. She is passionate about gender diversity in the workplace, as well as employee engagement and development. In late 2020, Lisa was the driving force to implement and invest in a 2-year immersive leadership training program for the company's middle management team, consisting of 50% females, and identified and implemented an Emerging Leaders program in 2021, again consisting of over 50% females. Under her leadership, the company has made significant strides in attracting a new generation to the insurance industry and continues their focus on promoting female leadership within the company. Currently, the executive team is 50-50 male to female, and the company board of directors has 3 females sitting on board seats, filling more seats than any other time in the company's history. And a female also sits in the company's chairwoman of the board of directors position for the first time in the company's history. Lisa currently sits on the board of directors for Special Olympics Vermont and is as a corporator for Northfield Savings Bank. Personally, Lisa is generous with her time and commits to hosting and participating in volunteer efforts, both on her own time and through company sponsorships. Congratulations, Lisa. Monique Priestley, whom I've already introduced to all of you, is also a finalist for the Athena Leadership Award. Congratulations, Monique. Tara Kulkarni. Tara is currently an associate professor and the first female chair of the Civil and Environmental Engineering Department at Norwich University. She is an outstanding teacher and a wonderful role model for students. She is a strong advocate for adding diverse and multilingual voices to address complex challenges and creating a culture of collaboration and support. She does this in and out of the classrooms, in partnership with Vermont's institutions, in outreach activities with her students in the community, and in mentoring other educators and engineers, especially women. She has mentored many student research projects in the areas of water quality and resilience. Tara has served on the scholarship committee of both Vermont Women in Higher Education and the Society of Women Engineers. She is a member of the American Society of Civil Engineers, Environmental Water Research Institute, and Association of Environmental Engineering and Science Professors, and the Engineering Honor Society. Tara has mentored local area Girl Scouts and Norwich University Girls Inventors Camp participants, and served as a Sustainability Environmental Badge Counselor for the local Boy Scouts. She has also consulted for the Norwich STEM Academy and served as the engineering instructor for K-8 teachers in the Vermont Science Initiatives Engineering and Science Summer Academy since 2014. She mentors newer civil engineering faculty through workshops run by the American Society of Civil Engineers. Congratulations, Tara. Vermont's inaugural ATHENA Leadership Award was presented to Jeannie Morrissey, who has certainly broken glass ceilings, defied stereotypes, raised standards, and served as a role model for hundreds of women. Please welcome Jeannie Morrissey.
Hello, everyone. I didn't come nearly as prepared as Lisa Dion, the Young Professional Award winner from last year, but I did want to say to Lisa and to Tara and to Monique that, you know, I was looking at the range of what you represent, and I identify with Lisa inside of the business realm. I identify with Tara inside of the engineering realm. And I look at Monique as a role model for expanding myself in all of those other realms. And but I did want to echo other people's thank you to the Chamber for even having this event, and thank you to Tanya and to Dee more specifically. And I also wanted to come back and just echo a number of things that Mary Alice Mckenzie said, but not the least of which is that our mothers were best friends, and they were both forces of nature. And I didn't know Mary Alice was going to be here until I got the program tonight. So I think we've got a lot of alignment there. And then one of the things I just wanted to say about this event that it was a little bit interesting for me in the inaugural year, because there's no such thing as a loser here, because we've got all of these incredible nominees, and so in that sense that everybody's a winner, but then you have a winner, so that kind of implies a loser. But I wanted to ensure you that there are no losers. So last year, Jeannie Morrissey, in my personal attempt to try to actually drive that point home, we made a decision last year that we were going to donate $500 to the nonprofit of the choice of each nominee, both junior and professional, and then and preferably in a realm that's supportive of women in some sense, although it's not a requirement. This year, the Northfield Savings Bank said that they were going to match us. So we're going to double down. So this year, everybody's a winner, because if every I won't even say every nominee, because Monique, you got the big prize, but every nomination will get $1,000, half from us and half from Northfield, towards the charity of your choice, really. So. And then the other thing that I just wanted to mention, because I think it's really important. There's a lot of different generations of women here, and there are a lot of war stories going back about how challenging and how difficult it has been for anybody in any given realm. But one of the things that I think is the most important for every woman leader to remember, and for every woman to remember as you're going along, is that sometimes when you become accomplished, you are mentoring and you're leading others, they're not so aware of how afraid you are. And I think that it is really important for all women, especially women leaders, to share, as Mary Alice did, about when nothing came out of her mouth, is that it is not about being, knowing what you're doing necessarily. It is about being willing to try. It is about having the courage to make an effort to try, to make a contribution in every other realm. And that is where, especially for young women, to see that this is not a life without failure. It's a life of consistent trying, and trying again. And one of the things about Lisa Dion that you may or may not know is that she started Girls Who Code up at UVM. And I was just telling her tonight that I had an experience a number of years ago, and then I watched a TED Talk by the woman who I'm not going to pronounce her name correctly, who founded Girls Who Code. And she told she had a very profound talk about how girls are raised to be perfect and boys are raised to be brave. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what, you see this play out, and this happened a number of years ago. It was over 25 years ago. I had a man who was working for me who said to me one day, you know what your problem is? And most women have this problem. And the hair on the back of my neck went up. You could brace myself. He said, you somehow think you need to know what you're doing before you do it. And I thought, well, that's true. And then I looked at him because I had issues with him, and I said, you know what? Fair enough. I need to dive in quicker. I need to do more doing. I need to fail a little bit more. But you know what? You need to figure out what the F you are doing before you do it, because you're working for me. And I say this because I do think it's important to celebrate women's desire, not to be perfect, but to be accurate. Accuracy is really a good thing. I like real facts, not alternative facts. I like accuracy. I like bravery and courage, and that's where we can help each other. When we're vulnerable, when we fail, when we lift, when we reach, when we uplift. And that's what every nominee here clearly, and those that aren't even in the finalists. But thank you all for all of your efforts, for all your hard work. Keep going, do great. Really appreciate everybody.
Okay. I also want to introduce Sam Roach Gerber, who was 2020 Athena Leadership recipient. And although she's unable to attend tonight, she did send me a few words that I'll read now. And she was a Spitfire. Good evening, everyone. I am sorry that I am unable to attend this year's gala, but I wanted to share a few words with this year's nominees. First, my sincerest congratulations to all of you on this incredible recognition. Second, let me be the one to remind each of you that if you were at all surprised by your nomination, please don't be. If you feel as though there are women in your life who, like you, deserve recognition, tell them and encourage them to do the same for others. We are often guilty of keeping our heads down and continuing the work without stopping to recognize just how significant our contributions are to those around us. Be proud of what you've accomplished and take care of yourself. Fill your own cup so you can continue the work you are doing. Too often we discount our contributions or punish ourselves for imperfection. But there is no value in that. We owe it to ourselves to celebrate our accomplishments with fervor, not only for our own longevity, but to embody the next generation of women leaders in Vermont. There's no doubt that 2020 was a rough year for all, but being named the recipient of Athena Leadership Award reminded me just how much we have to be grateful for. We live in a state that is brimming with powerful women. They are not only taking their rightful seat at the table, but they are also reaching back to serve as mentors and advocates for the next generation of women leaders. Thank you to the Central Vermont Chamber for recognizing the importance of celebrating the achievements of some of Vermont's most valued leaders. Cheers, Sam. Vermont women leaders are amazing, and to be in this room this evening with such inspirational, impressive, successful leaders is overwhelming and uplifting. Congratulations for your honorable work and vast achievements, and thank you for allowing us to share this moment with you today. It is truly my honor and privilege to announce the Athena Young Professional Leadership Award recipient. She understands we succeed when paving the way for the next generation. We succeed when bringing out the best in each other. We succeed in being true to ourselves. We succeed when lifting each other up. We succeed when making sure all women are inspired to be their best selves. Congratulations, Paige Spieth. Thank you. Do you want to say anything?
I think Lisa will acknowledge that you never ask a professor if they want to speak. They're probably going to. First, I would like to thank the Chamber, Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce, for bringing this award to Vermont, as has been stated. All of the sponsors, I've worked quite a bit with Vermont Works for Women, and by the way, that's where I hope my money will go this year for winning this award. And I want to thank my family. My wonderful husband is over there, and many family that wish they could be here. They live out of state. And I want to thank the awesome team that I work for, everybody at Norwich University. Tara Kulkarni, who, by the way, is not only up for the other award tonight, but was my mentor, has been my mentor at Norwich for quite a few years now. And I could not do all that I do without the awesome team that I work with there. So thank you very much.
Ready, Kim? The 2021 Athena Leadership Award recipient places great importance on fostering a positive, equitable, diverse work environment. Her values and vision continue to lay the foundation for sustained progress of women leaders rising up the corporate ladder, rising for respect, rising for pay, rising for credit, rising for equity, rising for a voice, rising for a seat at the table. Congratulations, Lisa.
It does, here. I have a short speech on my phone, sorry. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank 3 women that came to support me today, our CFO and our general counsel and friend from marketing at Union Mutual. You know, thank you. It's a privilege to be here, and I'm flattered. I got to put my glasses on. To receive this honor, thank you to Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce and the Athena Committee for recognizing the strengths and contributions of so many women business leaders in this great state. Diversity in the workplace is key to our future, and women in leadership is one aspect. Union Mutual has a proud tradition of embracing diversity across all levels of the company, and I am proud to be the first woman to become president and CEO of the company. It took 147 years, but we got there. Congratulations to all nominees and finalists, and I'm honored to be in your company. Thank you again for this award.
Women are strong, and we are resilient. And to those many women who managed to survive and even thrive during the pandemic, we must do everything we can to lift up the next generation so they too can be successful. Today we carry the torch passed to us from previous generations after their centuries-long struggle for gender equality. I know that each woman in this room will make it glow even brighter before they pass it on to the next generation. Entering the post-pandemic world, women of Vermont will help lead the way in building our community back stronger and better and more equitable than ever before. It is in our DNA as women, and that is why our communities will succeed. This ends tonight's award presentation. We hope you will stay and enjoy music and dancing with the Party Crashers. And if you want to take the centerpieces are available. If anybody wants to grab one and go before they leave, that's great. Thank you all for being here.